2/3 of the way through the season, and here we are at round 9 of the World Rally Championship, the Rally Finland, one of the few events never to have been won by a British driver. 12 months ago, Richard Burns came close, but for Colin McRae, the last few years have seen a string of retirements. Recent history has shown, in fact, that if you want to win this rally, you have to have a surname ending in EN. Last year's victory by Juha Kankkunen was his third, yet the Subaru driver was cautious about his chances this year.
Nobody's really a favourite in any rallies anymore. There is this first top 10 guys who can, all of them can win any rally actually in the world.
Also less than confident was a 5 times winner and local hero.
Quite a lot of work, and of course it's been it's been good preparation, and always I hope it is like what it feels like.
Yet another Finn, meanwhile, was looking for his very first victory on the rally.
I hope we can win this rally, because I have waited so many years for a good result here, so I hope I can do it this year.
So what would it take to beat the Finns?
You have to have the confidence to keep the car very straight so that you don't scrub off speed in the middle of the corner. And of course there's a lot of places like that. There's a lot of high speed corners where the average on this rally is 120 kilometers an hour. So of course you're traveling a lot of the time at 140, 150 and going around corners at that speed, and you can't physically see around the corners, so you just have to have the faith.
What does it take to win here? Do you have to be particularly smooth, particularly aggressive, what?
Particularly brave. Experience, know the road, and take brave pills in the morning.
You've signed for the next 2 years with Ford. What made your mind up?
Just the fact that the Ford are 100% behind the rally programme. There's an awful lot of interest from high up in the company. Budgets have been secured for next year. There's a lot more development still. There's a lot of potential still to come from the car, and M Sport have got the budgets now to extract that. So that's really why.
After 8 rounds, the World Drivers' Championship was led by Burns, just 4 points clear of Gronholm after the Subaru retired in both Greece and New Zealand. McRae and his Ford teammate Carlos Sainz were ahead of Mäkinen in 5th place and Kankkunen 6th.
The Rally Finland headquarters is the university town of Jyväskylä, right in the heart of the country. Leg 1 would consist of 10 stages, mainly to the north, while legs 2 and 3 were based at the military airfield of Hali, 65 miles to the southwest. 13 more stages through the dusty everyday dirt roads of the scenic countryside. For the 5th successive rally, Richard Burns led the crews off the start ramp as World Championship leader. But both he and co-driver Robert Reid were well aware that the Finn, starting right behind, was the rally favourite. And if Markus Gronholm and Timo Rautiainen were to win with the Subaru crew in 2nd place, they would be equal on points at the head of the table, tied together with identical results. Burns came out of the blocks on a charge, unfazed by the lack of British success on this event. He was 2nd fastest on stage 1, 2nd on stage 2 and 2nd on stage 3, covering the 25 miles 20 seconds faster than his vastly more experienced teammate Juha Kankkunen. Unfortunately for Richard, it was Markus Gronholm who beat him on each occasion, eking out a tiny 3.7 second advantage.
Nyt oikealta vasemmalle oikein hidas paha kivi sisällä.
Teammate François Delacour was wearing an unusual number 18, as the French Peugeot star was in Finland mainly to gain experience, while the honour of the 2nd manufacturer's nominated entry went to Gronholm's cousin, Sebastian Lindholm. Colin McRae made a cautious start to a rally he hasn't finished since 1992 and was struggling to find the right rhythm. He lay a disappointed 8th, 20 seconds down after just 3 stages. But at least his focus was going faster than Carlos Sainz's, as Tommy Mäkinen found the Spanish star limping through stage 2.
From the start of the stage, just the engine started to misfire very badly, and I tried to switch all the security things we have in the car, but nothing worked until they radio me to stop and change the ECU, and then after that it was okay.
Is it a complicated job to change the ECU?
Not really. Not even a driver can do that.
You and Marcus already seem to be pulling away from the others.
Yeah, it's still pretty close though, and it's a bit difficult to say what's going to happen just based on those first few stages. But at least we're on the right speed, and there's maybe a little bit more, but not an awful lot left.
The rally leader headed for the next batch of 3 stages, leaving the mechanics to sample some traditional Finnish hospitality. Out in the forests, however, that hospitality evaporated. Gronholm was quickest again on both stages 4 and 5, extending his lead over Burns to nearly 9 seconds. Third was the privately entered Toyota of Harry Rovanperä, out to show Seat what a mistake they'd made by dropping him at the end of last year. Stage 6 saw Burns strike back, setting the fastest time and clawing back 2.5 seconds from Gronholm, although Kankkunen in the other Impreza was by now languishing in 8th place, nearly 37 seconds down on the Peugeot. By now, Colin McRae and Nicky Grist were 4th after treating the morning as a confidence-building exercise. It had worked. The Focus was 2nd fastest on stage 6. The event's popularity, however, was causing a few problems. Thousands of spectators packed into the stages meant delays while the overcrowding was sorted out. Even so, many chose to stand on the road until the last moment. Petter Solberg and co-driver Phil Mills, the objects of their affection in this case. Seat had come to Finland with a new Evolution 3 Cordoba, but the car was suffering from a few teething problems.
C'est bon, ça va. C'est bon, ça va. Non, c'est bon, on va pas trop se faire mal là. Il faudrait qu'ils viennent nous aider à remettre, tiens, vite. Vite, vite.
I don't understand. I brake and the car was spinning like hell, and they check on the... I explain, I say check because something was wrong, and suddenly I have all the brake on the rear. So it's why I have my spin.
In 5th place after stage 6, Solberg's popularity was growing, while his enthusiasm was having to be held in check. I hear you now need a pilot's license.
Well, I think so, because I fly quite far today. So I think I have to calm down a little bit now, because I jumped a little bit too far on the last one now, and I broke the power steering. So now we try to go a little bit slower.
All right, just be careful.
Yeah, I'm going to try my best.
2nd fastest on stage 7, the young Norwegian had obviously forgotten his promise going into 8th. A huge accident, yet both driver and co-driver walked away. The car, however, was going no further.
Came around the corner, and then I came over the crest. And when you're coming over a crest, you lose a little bit grip, and then it tightens a little bit more than I had in the nose. We went in a ditch, and the car was just thrown 30 meters into between some trees.
While Solberg at least had the consolation of knowing the reason for his downfall, poor Tommy Mäkinen was having another miserable day in his Mitsubishi. Still unable to put his finger on what was wrong with his Lancer, the reigning world champion would end the day struggling down in 6th place. 3rd fastest on stage 8, Juha Kankkunen began to show some of his old form. He moved up from 8th to 5th and was beginning to close slightly on Colin McRae, who was failing to make much of an impression on Harry Rovanperä as the Finn held a teasing 10-second gap ahead of the Scot. All, however, were eclipsed by the battle for the lead. Burns had been fastest on the day's last forest stage, but only by 1.1 seconds, as his deficit to Gronholm ebbed and flowed around the 4-second mark. While Finland cheered on their new hero, Tommy was all but forgotten.
Can you do anything about Marcus and Richard?
Seems to be very difficult if they are doing same speed. We have to think about something if we can do something overnight, and then we need to concentrate to go as fast as we can.
Tommy would doubtless have loved to swap his Mitsubishi for a Finnish jet.
A reasonably good day?
Yeah, reasonably. It would have been nice to be a bit closer to Richard and Marcus, but no, not bad. If it wasn't for them, then it would have been a very good day because we'd be almost in the lead and very competitive, but they've seemed to have a bit extra and I can't do anything about it at the moment.
So far, so good. We still got a super special, but shouldn't be too much problem. And only 6 seconds behind you are behind Marcus is about probably the best we could hope for at the moment, and quite happy.
A good day, Marcus?
Yeah, not so bad, but not 100% fantastic. Well, from my driving side, it was not so good, but okay. We will try to do better tomorrow.
Over-exuberance then getting the better of Petter Solberg, while the event already looks like turning into a straight scrap between Marcus Gronholm and Richard Burns. Gronholm leads after leg one, although there's the small matter of a super special to come.
On the Super Special, Burns clawed another 1.2 seconds back on Gronholm, leaving his overnight lead at 4.9 seconds. But behind these two, the rest were now over 20 seconds adrift. With just over 100 miles of special stages, leg 2 would be the longest of the three, with 7 forest tests before a return to the Super Special in Jyväskylä. Previously known as the Thousand Lakes Rally, this spectacular event around the forest stages was shaping up to be a real classic. Marcus Gronholm and Timo Rautiainen immediately showed their intent by going fastest on the opening 14-mile stage. Predictably, Richard Burns and Robert Reid were second quickest, but they would reach the red marker board ending the stage in the middle of a fast right-hander nearly 5 seconds slower.
Flat right in tightens and flat right 100.
Steady?
Yeah. Heel. Heel.
Well, good Richard. Okay. Yeah. Robert, okay?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You better slow the cars down because somebody else is going to end up in here as well.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a stupid place to put a flying finish.
For the first time since the Rally Australia in 1998, Richard Burns had made a mistake which put his Subaru out of the rally.
I just took the last corner in the stage too fast. I had the corner as a 6-gear corner that tightened, and it tightened a bit more than I expected, maybe a bit less grip than I expected, and that was that.
You've seen the onboard footage, it looked fairly big.
I shut my eyes, so I haven't seen it yet from the inside.
The main road in the stage was quite slippy, and obviously we went a bit too fast because we didn't come out the other side of the corner.
But Burns and Reid weren't the only victims of the day's opening stage.
75. Je werkt daar voorlang over top. Wip. Zit, dat is op in.
This morning after 3-4 kilometers, I don't know exactly, we went off on the road, and we damaged a little bit the front of the car. Not a very big impact, but we damaged the intercooler and radiator. We went out the car, but we didn't saw a really big problem to finish the stage, so we started back driving, and then somewhere after 10-15 kilometers, we had a warning that the engine was overheating, and we stopped.
Tony Gardemeister's Seat, meanwhile, hadn't even reached the stage. Fuel pump failure forcing him out on the road section. So 3 of the works cars were out, and the day still had 7 more stages to go. Rovanperä had moved up to 2nd place as a result of Burns' retirement. Sebastian Lindholm in the Peugeot was fastest on stage 12, the day's 2nd, and he was now up to 4th, exactly 8 seconds behind the Ford Focus of Colin McRae, whose thoughts were now starting to turn towards the bigger picture. A little of the pressure off you now?
Not really, because Rovanperä is going very quickly. Juha and all the rest of the guys are very close behind, so pressure's still on. Obviously, with Richard going out, it helps the championship, but we still need to get a good position.
But you'd be happy with 3rd?
Happier with 2nd. First looks impossible, but 2nd's still possible.
I'm very sorry for Richard because it's after finish line and a difficult place anyway. But now I need to think about with Colin and boys doing in the rear. Boys pushing quite hard now.
Can you do anything about Marcus?
No, for Marcus is no chance. Anyways, he is I think so 40 or 50 seconds in the front, and we will see.
The rally leader himself, though, seemed less sure.
Still, it's only 40 seconds, so it's not so much. So we have to continue.
But Harry's helping you. He's holding Colin and the rest at bay.
Yes, yes, it's okay. But still, I have to concentrate on my own driving, so that is important.
While a brief summer shower might have dampened the spectators, it did little to dampen the pace of their latest local hero. Gronholm may have only been second fastest on stage 14 and fourth on 15, yet he still increased his overall lead over Rovanperä by another second. Teammate Lindholm wasn't to fare so well, as an oil-leaking turbocharger cost him 15 seconds on stage 15 and dropped him from 4th to 6th, just one place ahead of Delacour in the third Peugeot, who now had his sights set on getting into the points. Undeterred by the treacherous look of the wet surface, Rovanperä was still driving flat out to keep ahead of McRae. And despite being fastest on stage 14, the Scotsman found the gap that had started the day at just 8 seconds was stretching towards 20. Indeed, he now needed to focus his attention on Juha Kankkunen, who after stage 15 was just 6 seconds behind in 4th. With 2 Finns ahead of them and 3 behind, the British crew were beginning to feel the pressure.
And we're really stuck in the middle of a Finn sandwich. I mean, we've got them in front, behind, and queuing up behind. So I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle for us over these next 2. I mean, they're classic stages, the stages that these drivers know very well. And it's something that, well, we're going to try and do our best, but we'll have to see what happens.
And as the Subaru team prepared his car in the 20-minute service prior to the day's final 2 forest stages, the senior Finnish superstar seemed to be relishing the challenge.
I lost a bit in the morning, but then after that it has been a little better. Still close and still some kilometers to go, so I try to push as much as I can.
But even if the Finnish weather was glorious, the outlook in the Subaru camp was about to turn decidedly more cloudy. Stage 16 and the blue smoke which trailed Kankkunen's Impreza suggested all wasn't well. A puncture and no battery-powered nut gun in the car meant the wheel brace had to come out and over 4 minutes were lost. As the car drove off, Kankkunen and his co-driver Juha Rappo must have known that a top 6 finish was now all but impossible. One Finn's loss was another's gain. Tommi Mäkinen would end leg 2 in 4th place. Colin McRae's focus would return to Jyväskylä in 3rd, nearly a minute and a quarter down on the leader, but less than 17 seconds behind the man directly ahead. That man was Harry Rovanperä, only too aware of McRae's reputation in a straight fight. The Peugeot 206 of Marcus Gronholm, meanwhile, was nearly a minute clear of the chasing pack. Fastest on 3 of the 8 stages, the leader arrived at the day's final service area in confident mood. For the first time since the rally started, Gronholm even allowed himself the luxury of a smile. Victory was his for the taking, and he knew it.
Not easy to go 200 between the trees. Sometimes it's difficult.
But you can afford to back off now, and yet 3 fastest stage times today.
Yes, but it's very difficult to go slowly and to keep the car on the line, so it's much easier to go fast. But now I find a rhythm again, and I hope I can do the same tomorrow.
Happy with the day?
Medium. We wanted to try and get in front of Harry, or certainly be very close to him, but it's actually been a bit quicker today, so we'll need to see what we can do tomorrow.
Tommy, it's been quite a day. Yes, it's been fast day, but for us it's been so good. We made immediately in the morning tire choice mistake, and we had to do 3 stages with absolutely 2 soft tires, and I think it cost at least 20 seconds today. And yesterday we made same mistake. I think it cost more than 10 seconds yesterday, and it is unbelievable how we don't know the condition here in Finland.
Heading for a repeat of the Super Special, the clouds were gathering, but even they weren't enough to dampen Gronholm's mood. So Markus Gronholm's domination of the Rally Finland is almost complete. He and Timo Rautiainen have led since the very first stage, and now just 5 more stand in their way. For the 3rd event in a row, however, there'll be no points for Richard Burns, but there is some good news for Britain tonight. Colin McRae, I suspect, won't be happy to settle for 3rd.
With Markus Gronholm on a cruise, yet still increasing his lead by over 30 seconds during the day, the rest were fighting for 2nd at the best, and Harry Rovanperä now seemed to have that under his control. But with 5 stages and 70 miles still to run, anything could happen, and 4 of those were repeats of leg 2, so the home advantage was greatly reduced. There may not be an EN at the end of his name, but the fans were out in force to cheer Markus Gronholm towards a victory that would once again put a Finn back on top of the World Championship leaderboard. For Harry Rovanperä, it was simply pride at stake and the opportunity to remind World Championship team managers that he could finish the job and be a genuine prospect for the future. A broken rim on the day's 2nd stage cost him 13 seconds, but he still had a slender 4 in hand over McRae. That 2nd stage had been the only one the Scot hadn't done the day before, yet he was still quickest and now faced the final 3 with growing confidence. To his great credit, Tommy Mäkinen was still giving his all, and his Mitsubishi bore the scars of a close encounter with the local scenery as he fought to hang on to 4th. Alistair McRae had had a rather disappointing rally, but was now up to 9th, seemingly unable to find the promising pace the Hyundai had shown in New Zealand. But at least he fared better than teammate Ericsson, who had a travelled run to 15th. It's been a tough season for the Milton Keynes-based team, yet Alistair was still full of optimism.
This has not been as good as what you'd have expected after New Zealand, but here you do need horsepower, and we're maybe down slightly. We've got to work on that, but the cars run okay until now faultlessly. If we can do that for another 2 stages, then yeah, it's going in the right direction.
But at the other end of the service area, the talk was all about the previous 3 stages and possible time penalties for Rovanperä.
Something is wrong with in time control.
So it's not your problem, it's the marshals?
Yes.
So you think that the time penalties that have been added, then not real time penalties?
Yes, that is correct if going, yes.
Explain what was the problem, from a co-driver's point of view, why was he given this 20-second penalty?
I really don't know exactly, but I saw the time card and it's all a mess, and what I understood is that the organizers wrote the time on the wrong page, and after that it was delayed and something like that.
Harry's had some problems. We've closed the gap on him. There's some rumours of a road penalty for him as well, which would then put us in 2nd place, so very, very interesting.
In the end, the penalty stood, albeit reduced to 10 seconds, and Harry was now 3rd, 6 seconds behind McRae.
Juha Kankanen's leg 2 puncture had indeed cost the Finn a top 6 place. He'd finish 8th overall, so no driver points, but 2 manufacturers' points, some consolation for Subaru. Delacour would finish 6th, just 11.5 seconds ahead of Finnish privateer Pasi Hagström, while Peugeot's gamble of nominating Lindholm had paid off, 5th place and 3 manufacturer points. Tommy Mäkinen was 4th, a bitter disappointment, as his championship hopes were now slipping away. Still smarting from their 10-second penalty, Harry Rovanperä and Risto Pietalainen were in determined mood. 2nd fastest on the rally's penultimate stage, they'd snatched 2nd place once again. With just the 15-mile final stage to go, the Toyota was 2.7 seconds ahead of the Focus. But McRae and Grist rose to the challenge, just as they've done so many times before. 6.1 seconds quicker than Rovanperä on the stage, McRae claimed 2nd place at the last possible moment. For Gronholm and Rautiainen, though, the scrap for second was of no consequence. Gronholm had driven superbly, had led from start to finish, and had looked like a true world champion in the making. It's hard to believe that his first rally victory had only occurred in February this year, but Finland was his third, and one which gave the Peugeot management particular cause for celebration. Over at Ford, the celebrations were almost as vocal, the team delighted at an unexpected second place. But the World Championship had a new leader. No wonder the Peugeot mechanics were in high spirits when Gronholm reached the final service area.
This is very nice win, but okay, the first one is the best, of course, but here it's also a good win.
You told me before the rally that you weren't sure whether you could actually do it or not. How do you feel now?
I feel okay, good, very good. Okay, it was not so big fight after Colin, Richard was out, but anyway, Harry was pushing hard and Colin, so it was not easy.
Second place meant Colin McRae was also a happy man, even if his stunning performance on the final stage was something of a mystery. 6 seconds or something on that last stage. Where did you get it from?
Don't know. You tell me. No, we drove obviously as fast as possible, but I can remember bits of the stages more on that stage than the rest, so I think that just gave me the extra confidence to push it.
Must have been an interesting ride you gave Nicky through that one then.
The funny thing is, when that happens, it's all pretty smooth. You know, the car's not sideways. Everything just really works well, and it's very smooth.
Harry, you fought hard for 3 days. How do you feel to lose second place like this?
No, very bad feeling, of course, very bad. But anyway, if it's third place is okay also. We are first day all the time in third place, and near 2 days second place is I'm very happy. It's in top in the rally all the time.
The Marcus Gronholm Lakeside Tour finally finished over a minute ahead of the frantic scrap for second. Tommy Mäkinen didn't enjoy finishing fourth, while Lindholm and Delacour made it 3 Peugeots in the top 6. 3 zeros on the trot sees Richard Burns relinquish his points lead to Gronholm, with McRae now just 2 points behind him in third. McRae's second place lifts forward to the head of the manufacturer's table for the first time in a long while, while Peugeot's 13-point stash sees them closing up in third. It's all getting very interesting.
So the World Rally Championship has a new leader this evening, and the locals seem happy enough, although another Finn, Tommy Mäkinen, is now probably out of the fight for his 5th consecutive title. Good news too for Colin McRae, but a controversial end to the Rally Finland, to say the least. Round 10 of the championship is also the newest round on the island of Cyprus in mid-September.